What comes to mind when you hear these percentages?
If I can defeat you, my problems are solved. I don't have to go into the messy process of looking within my own community. That hurts too much. It's way simpler. It's more beautiful to consider that things are simply black and white, and they're what's wrong with this country. And if we can get rid of them or support them, stamp them down, everything will be okay. It's a perfect, beautiful solution, but it's...
And it was inside my own family. Both grandpas telling each other that they were bad, not bad people, but like, I don't like that, I don't like that, just inside the family. So imagine if you repeat that in the different structures of a society, how is to live with that pressure like on your shoulders?
People don't even want to debate. They want to win an argument. There is no conversation. It's just one-sided, and it becomes a free-for-all. Everybody's flinging mud and cancelling each other out.
And Jeff, you said that they redid that recently in the past few weeks, and it actually dropped to 1%.
Yeah, let me find it. Give me 1 minute. I'll find it.
Democrats here in the U.S. think that about 45% of Republicans support partisan murder. That's what Democrats think of Republicans. And Republicans think that 42% of Democrats support partisan murder. So Republicans have this idea that, Democrats are out there thinking, hey, it's okay to kill somebody because of their connection to their political party. And that you could take it a step further, and that maybe that's a good thing if they're connected to a party that I don't like. Okay, so both sides are thinking that the other side thinks it's okay to kill people because of their beliefs and their connection to the party. Next slide. The Americans who support some type of partisan killing, who think that, under certain circumstances, it would be okay to kill someone, is 2%. It's very small. Very small. And even then, they're off their extreme. The number of Americans who believe that it's okay to commit violence based on political beliefs is 4%. David, Susan, Bassem, Julie, thinking of the conflict in your nations and what you've been through and what you've experienced and what you know about how conflict works, how it operates, what comes to mind when you hear these percentages?
Big number, and it's a dangerous number. That's a big number.
It's big, 40 to 45%.
Very, very big. Even in Iraq, we don't have anything like that.
I'm thinking that the systems and the structures that are in place to misinform people and to spread misinformation, to encourage fear, ignorance, and misunderstanding, to encourage people to look outwards towards others as them and inwards towards self and us as we, are very, very powerful and very, very sophisticated, and performing at a very, very high level of efficiency in the United States of America today, empowered and sustained and nourished since, 2006, 2007, the introduction of commercially available smartphone technology and the associated algorithms, which have a toxic, powerfully toxic impact on almost all of us, to a greater or a lesser extent, with many of us not even being aware of it. So those stats don't hugely surprise me in the current circumstances.
So, David, do you think these numbers are exaggerated to spread misinformation about political situation?
I think all stats are suspect, and it's dangerous and are dangerous to use. I don't actually believe personally that 42% of voting Republicans or 44 point whatever it was of voting Democrats actually hold to that belief.
No, the idea is that Democrats on average think that almost half of those Republicans out there think it's okay to kill on the basis of partisan ideas. That you don't think that actually if you sat people down and said, wait, hang on, do you really think that? You think that people might back off of that?
I think it's ludicrous. But that's not to take away from the initial point that I made about the incredible sophisticated power that's at play, encouraging us into us and then thinking, demonizing the other and dehumanizing the other. Many of us are actually hungry. I hunger for the powerful simplicity of knowing that you are the enemy. And all I need to do to resolve this situation, it's how conflicts work. If I can defeat you, my problems are solved. I don't have to go into the messy process of looking within my own community. That hurts too much. It's way simpler. It's more beautiful to consider that things are simply black and white and they're what's wrong with this country. And if we can get rid of them or support them and stamp them down, everything will be okay. It's a perfect, beautiful solution, but it's implausible, irrational, and it doesn't work.
No, especially if we can believe that they want to kill us. If they want to kill us, then it makes it so much easier to feel that self-righteousness to want to kill somebody else.
Of course, it's not the exact same situation because it's a different context and different things, but it reminds me how this big war that we're still facing here in Colombia started. And it started because of the power relation, unhealthy relationship between two parties. And everything was about liberals against conservatives, is what was called here. And it started like that, like with the fear of being attacked by the other party, and then the other party being attacked by the other party. And it was more than 50 years. It started like in 1930 or something like that before. Then we entered in a big, huge, long period of violence called the violence. And then it is supposed to be ended with the peace agreement, but it's not. Right now, we're still having that. So we can say almost a century of war because it started just like that, because liberals were fighting with conservatives, and then it just went off the hands. And look at this. So of course, it's not the same thing that you're describing because it's different society, different times, but it started like that. I remember my grandpa from my dad's side telling me that my grandpa from my mom's side was a bad guy because he was conservative and our family was liberal. And it was inside my own family, both grandpas telling each other that they were bad, not bad people, but like, I don't like that. I don't like that. Just inside the family. So imagine if you repeat that in the different structures of a society, how is to live with that pressure like on your shoulders when you're growing up, like on different scenarios.
Susan, how about you? Like when you hear those numbers and you think, how about you? What comes to mind?
Well, setting aside how accurate those stats are and, how they were gathered in the first place, I think what comes to mind for me is that perception is very dangerous. And it seems that inhabiting these echo chambers is getting worse and worse. And at the risk of sounding incredibly naive, nobody really wants to get to know anybody else anymore. In my own life, when I've perhaps challenged someone on their views, if they've challenged me, now and again, we've actually been able to find some middle ground. Like, oh, okay, we've got some common ground here. We've got more in common than we actually know. But we've come to a strange state globally in this country where I live, where people don't even want to debate. They want to win an argument. There is no conversation. It's just one-sided, and it becomes a free-for-all. Everybody's flinging mud and cancelling each other out. So that's what comes to mind when I see, those stats for Democrats and Republicans and what they're thinking about each other. I'm not saying that you don't get your radical people on the left and the radical people on the right, but I think for the most part, I just don't understand. This is actually why I'm here as well. Why this inability to just meet each other halfway and to figure this out. I say that as a person in a violent country, it's not that I'm out of touch with reality, but I just can't believe how far we've moved away from having conversations. Nobody has them. People, in South Africa at institutional level, people feel gagged. They're not comfortable saying what they'd like to say for fear of reprisal. And that is so frustrating. I think people build and simmer and cook below the surface and then have massive outbursts. And it's because there's no pressure valve. You can't, just vent a little bit without people being triggered very, very quickly and just labeling you, as having a certain mindset or ideology. So there's no conversations happening. So that's what your stats got me thinking about.
I guess that's why you tuned into our class. I suppose,
absolutely, exactly. Right? Looking for answers. Yeah.
Well, we don't have answers. We have a lot of questions. Hey, Bosco.
Before we move, do you have an idea of the age group of the census of these numbers?
Yeah, it was across the spectrum. And by the way, these are academics who did this. They did it. It's this polarization research lab. It's connected to several different universities. And they were very thoughtful about how they got the data. Now, mind you, it's one thing to answer a question on a survey form, to say, hey, here we go. This is what I think. It's another thing if you sat down and someone said, hang on, do you really think that? But still, the idea, the Americans of one party think that, half on average of people of the other party would be happy to support murder based on political parties is really just so, you can't even imagine that 5 years ago or 10 years ago. People would just laugh at them. So Bassem, when you think about Iraq and you think about the ongoing violence in Iraq, that we can, just after the U.S. invasion, don't have to go to specifics, but so many people having these ideas about other people. But where does your mind go?
Sam, we have an election November 11th. And the people who are participating in the elections there, everybody is trying to dehumanize the other side. We have a problem. It's not only Republican Democrats as the U.S. We have ethnicity problem. We have religion problem. We have Sunni Shia problem. We have Arab Kurds problem. We have so many complicated factors that goes into the life of a politician in Iraq. We are very uncertain of the outcome of the election on November 11th, and people are very, very scared of the coming election.
And people are scared, in particular, of the other side, of people.
Of the other side, yes. This election is different this time. 2 days ago, there was a rumor that al-Sadr has been threatened with a drone to kill him. And his followers in Basra, in the millions, fled to the streets. Yesterday in Baghdad, millions took to the streets to protect their leader. And ethnicity and religion is very, very big in Iraq, and it's growing, and it's growing.
So that's that one thing that's kind of interesting is that, you know, what you just said, you have millions of people in the streets. This was yesterday?
Yeah, yesterday or the day before yesterday.
Yeah.
Last night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that we don't hear about it. You know, one of the things that I think is really important for this class to talk about things that are happening around the world is because, you know, we don't hear them. Hey, by the way, people were sort of pushing back on this data a little bit, that like Democrats and Republicans think on average that Democrats think that Republicans like 45% support partisan murder, and Republicans on average think that 42% of Democrats, these are average numbers because obviously they're asking a lot of people, they're average numbers, support partisan murder. And people were like, oh my God, that's too high. And I asked Lori about this, and Lori's like, that doesn't sound high to me at all. Because that's where we get to. We get to this space where we think that we demonize the other side, and we think the other side are like, there are these crazy people over there, you know, and we get that by, you know, like people around us telling us that they're crazy people, right? You know, you listen to the right, they kind of had this Trump hysteria syndrome, right? That people are like, oh my God, Trump is a lunatic, and you know, that kind of thing. And then on the other side, we have a very similar kind of thing. So where it's like you know, when Charlie Kirk was killed, you know, that guy on Fox News who's saying like, they're coming after us, you know, who's they, man? Like they're killing us. Like, oh God, stop, man. So it doesn't strike me as being very odd. And by the way, these numbers were actually from over a year ago, so I can only imagine now it's more. Although Jeff, you said you looked up, and then the 2% number is Americans who actually support some kind of partisan murder. And Jeff, you said that they redid that recently in the past few weeks, and it actually dropped to 1%.
Yeah, let me find it. Give me 1 minute. I'll find it.
And these are all academics who are doing this, and it doesn't matter. The numbers obviously aren't correct. I mean, you're asking people a question and be like, "Hey, what do you think?" If they actually said like, "Hey, let's sit down in a group of people and say like, what do you really think?" The number would be way, way, way smaller, right? That's the nature of it. This is just like sort of the social media breeding ground for insanity. They're asking people, you know, a question, but the mere idea, like if you ask me, what percentage of people do I think of Democrats or Republicans support some kind of partisan murder, I would have said 1%, maybe. Like just nothing, because I feel like I don't buy into the hysteria. So the fact that anybody under any condition would say a really high number is absolutely striking to me. You know, so anyway, so for Ian, but you said that Ian said the thing about like a very small amount of the world is actually in conflict. It's 2%, it's less than 2%, 1%. I don't know what it is, but it's such a small.
The key findings are attitudes on violence. 1% of Americans in September of 2023, or sorry, September 23rd of 2025, support partisan murder. So I believe the number was 2% last year, and it's gone down 1% this year.
Well, that's what happens when you have something, such a notable
event like that happen,
event like with Charlie Kirk, right? And then if you scroll down a little bit, 73% of Democrats blame Republicans for political violence, and 50% of Republicans blame Democrats. That's a big difference, man. I wonder why that. Yeah, I wonder what constitutes that only half of Republicans are blaming Democrats for the violence. Huh.
And then the next two numbers are 81 and 86% blaming the other side for hostile and angry political speech.
Yeah. But almost half of Americans think that political violence is coordinated by larger political organizations. That's actually really fascinating, man. Yeah. Yeah, it's 61% support disqualifying candidates from ballots for their speech. Well, that would probably, you'd have to disqualify Donald Trump, then, because he's been, no, I mean, I'm not saying, he has been just so, yeah, mean spirited and like, holy smokes, man. The things that he says are beyond reproach, man. And, not everything, but some things are just like, I'm like, whoa, man. Anyway, it's kind of funny. Yeah, I don't know. That's quite fascinating. You should put that in the
Yeah, I'll put it in chat right now.
Yeah. No, Daniel Grant just wrote that he blames media and social media. Dude, social media, absolutely, man. Just like zeroing in on. There's no question. Everybody who studies this is saying like these things are a problem. They are absolutely a problem in dividing us. And yeah, this is like really, really very.